You don't know who made this song, and neither do I. There's no artist, there's no title, there's no credits listed at all. But someone recorded it. Someone edited it into a video, and somehow it ended up in a thrift store bin, mislabeled and forgotten. In 2019, two sisters in Sydney were flipping through secondhand tapes at a shop in Newtown. Inside a VHS case for the Little Rascals was something kind of crazy. A blank BASF cassette with a single Sony branded label, and in fading pen it read, Chatswood Youth, Mono. When they played it, it wasn't a movie. It was a 35-minute homemade documentary shot on video. Local teens hanging out, skating, and talking about life, and layered through the whole thing was a pop punk song. It was raw, it was repetitive, and it was catchy, but it was uncredited and untraceable. It wasn't on Shazam, it wasn't online. There was no sign of it in any release database. It's essentially a ghost. People online started calling it Woohoo, She Came On, and other people started calling it the Chatswood song or Chatswood Youth. And what started as a weird thrift store find has become one of the strangest music mysteries in Australia and, quite frankly, all over the globe. This is not just about the song on the tape, it's about those memories. It's about what we lose when media goes undocumented. So, to see how it all began, I spoke with the person who found the tape, Sha'urnyat. Hey guys, Future Jordy here. I just want to say I filmed this before getting a haircut, so instead of seeing my actual face, you get to see this beautiful picture of my face that my Twitch followers love so much. And yeah, enjoy the interview. If you could just take me back, live with me in the time that you were at the thrift store looking at tapes and you saw this Little Rascals VHS tape. That looks so, today it looks so iconic, but I'm sure to you at the time, it was just it's just another family movie. It's just a movie that you might have grown up watching. I assume you opened it up in the store just to see that it's not the Little Rascals, but it is a very ominous, almost unlisted VHS tape. Take me back to what that felt like.
Yeah, when getting the tape, it is very funny that that particular tape is now sort of got a life of its own in the community. But yeah, when I got it, good condition. But I always like to open up the tapes to see if they're good, because if they got mold or crap like that, I'm not gonna buy it. But I immediately noticed it was a blank tape. It just had the label on it crudely written with that Chatswood Youth Action Mono. And I knew immediately that something wasn't right about this tape. Popped it into VCR and discovered that it was the iconic film that probably everyone in the community knows about, going for 35 minutes. And it just drew me in instantly, just with how wacky, edgy, and just pleasantly dated it is.
This just begs the question, at what point did the song catch Sha'urnyat's eye, and did Sha'urnyat know about Lostwave as a whole before this, or was this their introduction to the community?
First things first, the song is the first thing you hear when you put on the tape. It's the introduction track, and then plays prominently throughout. It did sound like a lot of the contemporary alt rock type of tracks, very reminiscent of Blur and whatnot. And I didn't take too much notice of it initially. I thought, oh, this is quite catchy. But I assumed a little later that I could be able to identify it. I then got my Shazam and then just decided to see if I can identify the track. I did. And I tried looking into it, but every time I did, it just didn't come up with an identification. So I was like, okay, I'll just try and interpret the lyrics. Google usually has something. And I tried that, nothing. Tried SoundHound, nothing. So I thought, okay, this is going to be a lot harder than what I assumed. That's when I really started my hunt for it online. Now, during that time, I already was very much familiar with Lostwave. I have been an observer of Lostwave, but I also was very active in Lost Media in general. Yeah, so I uploaded my Chatswood song to Lost Media, mainly to Lostwave and /Sydney. That's when the chase began, really.
Being from the 90s and likely never released publicly, this song obviously was never going to show up on Shazam, so that's exactly why Sha'urnyat turned to Reddit to try to find answers, and people started slowly gaining interest in this track.
Well, initially when I put it out to /Sydney, it was pretty lukewarm response, not negative, not positive. It was just like, oh, have you tried going here? Have you tried going there? A couple comments, and not a lot of people seem to have that much interest in it. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll try my best here. But Lostwave definitely was the most passionate about this case. And I think they also just found that the whole premise of me finding the song on a mysterious VHS tape just really added to the lore of it all in many ways. But before Schwartz made his videos about it, it was mainly a cult following on Lostwave quite quickly, but everywhere else it was pretty insignificant. So for me, it really didn't gain that much traction outside of Lostwave until I think Strange Australia. A lot of the local music scene by that point, because of aggressive attempts at really researching and spreading awareness about the case, we're now hearing from people that we're reaching out to beforehand, like that they already are aware of the case because friends of theirs have informed them about it, and now it's sort of getting traction in like the local music scene here in Sydney, which I found to be quite an accomplishment.
After gaining some promising traction online, it was actually discovered that the film was not created just as a fun way to pass the time. It was a direct response to negative media portrayals of the Chatswood youth at the time.
What was your reaction when you figured out that the documentary was in response to negative media portrayals of the local Chatswood youth? Like, how did that change things for you? Was it kind of still the same, or did that kind of like make you look at it just a little bit differently?
Oh, it just definitely did make it look quite different. It made the film itself a lot more substantial and, or most importantly, substantive, because it was no longer just a film made by a bunch of teenagers trying to do, stupid shit by all fair respects. It was a transgressive response to showcase it like a very unfiltered community that I'm very familiar with. It evolved from just being a Lostwave case, but also just being a very fascinating story of a lost piece of local history.
Not only did we learn that this was a response to the negative portrayal of the Chatswood youth in the media, we also learned that there was a link between the documentary and a government arts program that had been forgotten for decades called Art Start.
Back in 1997, the state government of New South Wales regarding arts and culture department initiated a creative youth program within August that would help various councils and their associated youth centres to make various programs, or fund various programs. And these could range in various forms. This could be like textile making, painting, street art, radio broadcasting, music recording, and ostensibly video making. And Art Start would be what would come out as funding. It was statewide, New South Wales only, and there would be a subsequent Art Start festivals that happened like in 98 and 99, but I think it sort of like fizzled out by the mid-2000s. I might have to double check that. But it appeared that 97 was the first iteration of Art Start, and Willoughby Council was the council where the Chatswood Youth Centre was located. They were given the funding by state governments to do whatever they want. They had multiple programs, so they had like a cartoon workshop, like comic book designs, street art, live performances, and then one of them was the video workshop. And that's ostensibly how it came to be. With the North Shore Times' article also coinciding just a month before Art Start would begin, and they already seem to have gotten the funding by July, they sort of took this as an opportunity to make this video workshop and also get back at North Shore for their article.
If you're at all familiar with the Chatswood youth story, you probably know all of the things we've talked about, but I wanted to make it a point to share all of the latest updates possible with you, the viewer, so I asked Shaurnyat to share everything she knows up to this point right now.
So before, I know you said there was a couple things you were working on, but as I know now, they didn't pan out, obviously. What's new? What has happened since December when I last talked to you?
Oh, a lot of stuff's been happening. So since December, we tried reaching out to various people, but we really didn't get that much information out of it. We tried reaching out to some historical societies too, and that didn't really pan out either. However, out of the blue, I get a comment from the bassist of a local Kurungai band called Morning After. I'm just going to call him Andrew, that's it. Sends me a comment for my upload of If It Fits. As you might remember, that was a compilation album that we initially thought the song was on, but wasn't. But it was an Art Start funded album. He sent me a comment thanking me for uploading this because he has been trying to find it for some time. And I said, oh, thank you. I thought as an opportunity since he was in the scene at the time, I thought to myself, hey, could you tell me if you know anyone that might be familiar with the song? He said he didn't, and I was like, okay, well, I tried. So I thought that was the end of that. Very next day, his son reaches out to me on Reddit out of the blue, thanks me for uploading the album, and he said, I heard about your case, and I think we want to give you something in return. So he said that whilst I didn't have the CD, they had the album packaging. And he gave me all the scans of the If It Fits album cover, which I had never seen before. It's never been online before. All of the packaging, CD packaging for this album. And he just gave it to me. And I was like, really thanked him for it. And he said, look at the liner notes, because you'll see every single band and musical act that didn't make the cut. And I think those bands could be ones you can pursue. And they were like, most of them were like a whole bunch of bands I never even heard of. I couldn't even have come across from our previous research. So with that information, we've ruled out a lot of the bands that wouldn't have made the song, but we still got a fair amount of bands that we are looking to find. These include ones like Dirt Bike, Frank, Transit Lounge, Spirit of the Dolphin. All these bands, no presence online. Quite some names. There's also Fish Bait too. I wasn't expecting to find any info on the band Frank. They don't even have a Discogs entry. Most of these bands don't even have a Discogs entry. That's how obscure they are. But I did get in contact with the drummer of Frank, and hopefully he gets back to me, but he's acknowledged my existence. But this has been the biggest lead thus far into actually getting some shit sorted out. So that's been really good at this case. But a little beforehand, I'm not sure if I mentioned about Luke from Noise Levels. He's been really helpful because he's a Sydney archivist for alternative rock music from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and runs a zine relating to that. He's been very helpful in getting me contacts and just publicizing the case a little bit further. So I gotta thank him. And for him, he was the person that actually helped me to have a potential candidate band. Luke posted up the case onto his Facebook page. And a lot of people said the song sounded like a song from a very, very obscure band from Chatswood called Box 144. They're a youth band. They were very active back in the 90s. Their official website from the 90s, 97, shows that they had active live performances in July and August. So around like Hornsby and Chatswood area. So I thought this has to be a band. And their only known release was a demo recording. I was like, this has got to be the band. This has to be the band. Luke said he will reach out to the drummer, I believe, of Box 144, but the drummer said it wasn't the band. So I was like, everything fits so well. How could this not be the band? So, but that was a very close call, but he's been helping me out a lot more with that case as well. And like I said, we still got a lot of these bands out there that we're trying to reach out to and hopefully get some responses in the meantime. I also reached out to the Historical Society. This is the most recent event. They said that they had annual event reports from Willoughby and Ku-ring-gai about Art Start, but they told me that they disposed of them years ago. Those reports are gone, so I don't know much about that, but hopefully our biggest lead right now is ostensibly what I like to call the If It Fits rejection list bands, and seeing if I can find something about them. And so far we're making good progress, and things are looking a bit hopeful right now, especially since Strange Australian has posted up these new findings on Facebook to a lot of Facebook music groups in the local area, and they should give us something to look into from there.
Knowing all this new information, I wanted to ask Sharanya what it would mean to her for this song to finally be solved, for the mystery that she started to finally be over, and any advice she might have for you sitting at home wanting to search for Lostwave, wanting to do part for your community.
So, that for me is that the whole thing is like, I've been doing this for 5 years, and I need to I want this to sort of be like a chapter I want to finish up, honestly. Like, I've been doing this for so long, this one particular case, that it is not taking a toll, but it is something I would like to see a good conclusion to. So it will be really nice, really fulfilling, and also just on a more localized level, a very substantial thing to finally figure out the identity of a song, because it helps to better preserve the city that I really love and this country I really love, with a bit more clarity as to who it is. And I feel like it was just kind of tie everything together. And I think for when it comes to other people wanting to get into like Lost Media or Lostwave, I say that I feel like a lot of people have this archetype that if you're like an archivist or a preservationist who sort of has an eye of a hawk and an investigative trait that goes beyond abnormality. But the thing is that a lot of people who are in these communities are just like average Joes, like who don't have that credential. There's just really passionate people and just want to see history be preserved for the masses, find art that has been forgotten to time and give them give it the viewership that it was meant to be for. And it would be really nice to, and just something that would be helpful for the long term, inspire people in the long term. So if you think that it's hard to get into archiving, or like, oh, you gotta have to be an investigator. No. One thing is this: you learn the ropes over time, you learn from others, and most importantly, the most important thing about archiving is that a lot of the time when you find something, it's just by pure coincidence. It's just, you're just going to be at the right place at the right time. My story was a case. Me even getting into lost media and starting my VHS collection was literally circumstantial situations. It was nothing more than that. So I highly recommend that that's the way to go about it.
Now, I'm not really sure what I believe as the true story of this. Did the band break up? Maybe. Maybe no one remembers recording it. Maybe it was someone's first demo, or possibly their last. You never know what people might put out into the world expecting to never see again. But the people who heard it and cared about it gave it another life. Chatswood Youth is still alive, and that might be the strange magic of Lostwave. Sometimes the songs we hold on to are the ones we were never meant to find. The Lostwave community always finds a way to persevere and push through, no matter how long the search. And I gotta tell you, if we solved the most mysterious song on the internet, I believe we can solve the most mysterious song from Australia. And with that, I just want to thank everybody for watching. As always, there's merch. Please check out the merch store. The link's gonna be in the description. But other than that, I hope you guys have a beautiful day. And always remember that everything mysterious has a story to tell. I'll catch you guys next time.